Anxiety for me.
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 When most people hear the word anxiety, they think of the words scared, nervous, or worried. Although this is true, anxiety is a much more complex and debilitating illness. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling we experience on a daily basis, which takes us to our fight and flight system. We all need anxiety and it is built into us. The fight and flight system is there to warn and protect us against danger and life-threatening situations. When we feel a sense of threat, our bodies send out hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which you might have already guessed makes you either want to fight the danger or flee from it. There are many types of anxiety disorders and they all have different symptoms. Here are the most common. Generalized anxiety disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is having excessive worrying thoughts on a day-to-day basis and is triggered by a multitude of different things. It is a long-term condition and sufferers often don't remember the last time they felt relaxed and not on edge. The things they worry about can range from family troubles to money to even small things like going out to the supermarket. There are both mental and physical effects, and people with GAD often find it extremely hard to manage. What is the most common type of anxiety you see someone with?
Well, probably the most common form is something called generalised anxiety disorder, and that's where people often feel very worried and just struggle with sort of the day-to-day pressures of life. They might experience some panic attacks, but generally I think the anxiety symptoms are present a lot of the time. That's the most common thing that I see.
Anxiety disorder. A social anxiety disorder is primarily when a person gets anxious in social situations. People often confuse it with just being shy. However, it goes a lot further than that. It can range from people being scared to go out on their own, to meeting a lot of people, or to talking on the phone.
I have social anxiety and I was first diagnosed with it when I was in year 9. And I didn't really know what anxiety was at that point. But yeah, I can remember always being scared to go to primary school, and I'd always wake up feeling sick, and I just thought it was normal.
I know all that information sounds scary and horrible, but luckily for us all, it is manageable and treatable. You don't have to put up with it, and here are some ways if you, yourself, or a family member thinks they are suffering from it. Counselling or cognitive behavioural therapy. CBT is a way of channeling your thoughts into a more positive light and focusing and talking about your problems that you are facing now, rather than anything in your past. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a type of meditation that gets you to focus on the here and now. Although most people think meditation is making your mind go blank and forgetting everything, mindfulness is about accepting every thought, feeling and body sensation without judgment.
And then I was prescribed CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, to kind of get over these feelings of that I had all these symptoms of cancer or something like that. And it did help for a while. And then another incident happened which really triggered it off was my youngest daughter got run over on a zebra crossing right in front of me. Luckily she was okay, but not long after I started to get panic attacks, and I can only describe them as being the most terrifying things that I've ever come across.
Medication is usually a last resort, and doctors will only normally prescribe after you've tried other methods. It will normally work in the short term, but will never actually cure the underlying problems, and after you stop taking it, your anxiety will normally just come back with full force. However, it does work for a lot of people and should definitely be considered if you think that's the right thing for you. What would you say to someone that thinks they're going through it but doesn't know what to do?
If they're going through it, I think talk to someone's the first thing to do, and find out what help is available locally. go and talk to their doctor, or talk to a friend if you don't feel you can talk to a doctor. There's lots of help online as well, so lots of chat rooms and information that people can look at.
If you think you're experiencing any of these things, please do talk to someone and get the help you deserve.
One aspect I think of anxiety that's really difficult is it's quite a lot of internal stuff. So like in your brain, like when you get paranoid about things, that is quite a big factor, because like your rational mind is telling you that like even if it's something from like your friends not really liking you or something really stupid, like a stranger giving you a bad look, like your rational like brain is telling you that like you're being like ridiculous and things like that, but like the way that actually makes you feel is very, very different.
What made you want to become a mental health worker?
Okay, well, when I was at school, I knew that I wanted to work with people, and I knew that I wanted to help people do practical things, and so I went and trained as an occupational therapist.
Would you say it's becoming a more common thing to have?
I think it's talked about a bit more. I wouldn't say that it's increased, but I'd say it's talked about a bit more.
What are small things you can do at home yourself to help manage your anxiety?
I think you can try and have a balance in your life of doing things that you like, making sure that you sleep well, making sure you have good rest, make sure you have a healthy diet, do some exercise, maybe some relaxation, and just really take a bit of time out for yourself.
Anxiety for me is pretty much my life. About 6 years ago or so was when I first went to the doctor for it, and basically the first doctor said that it was because I was fat, and then the second doctor said that it was because basically they both said it was because of I was a teenager, and then the second one kind of made a joke about it. So for the next like 5 or 6 years I kind of helped myself.
When you have anxiety, you start thinking negative thoughts, and as you think these negative thoughts more and more, you're strengthening the neural pathways in your brain, which makes it easier and easier to just kind of slip down that route of negative thinking until it leads into a panic attack. And the more that it's practiced and the longer you've been suffering from it, the harder it is to break out of that as well. And a big part of anxiety is understanding what's going on in your brain and how you can kind of change that.
See the danger, always danger, endless talking, life real.